Hi. There is a question that if you ask it properly, you can create instant rapport with anybody. I know that's a bold claim, but it's absolutely true. It's easy to learn, it's very powerful, and you have to use it with integrity because it does create a bond between you and somebody else in a very, very short time. I'm Mike Franzblau, and I'm the author of The Relationship Sale, which, if you've been following these videos, you know is a bunch of strategies to help you find the right person and establish a strong relationship with them. So let's talk about rapport. The question that I'm going to teach you actually gets you into instant rapport. It's the most powerful way I know to bond with another person. Rapport is really important. Without rapport, you're going nowhere in a relationship. And you can tell when you have rapport because it means being with somebody, and you can get that feeling that you're on the same page and that your values are aligned and so on. And there are many, many ways to that I will actually go through in other videos to establish rapport. But I love the use of this question because it is so simple. Everybody, each of us has a number of values, and they're arranged in our minds in some kind of a hierarchy. So, for example, for some people, fidelity is a very high value, and then family, money, and so on, security, safety. Anyhow, we all have this hierarchy, and it usually stays the same throughout our life. This technique helps you and helps the other person find their hierarchy of values. I guess the best way to do this is to try it on yourself first. So here are the steps. Ask yourself, look in a mirror and ask yourself, what's most important to me? And see what comes up for you. And write it down. And then you can ask yourself, what's most important about what I just thought of? And you can write that down. And then you can say, is there anything else that's important to me? And you can write the next thing down, and so on. And then you'll have your hierarchy of values. But of course, we already have a relationship with ourselves, so let's learn how to use it to form instant rapport with somebody else. By the way, in order to do this, you have to have some expertise in listening. Listening is very interesting. Listening itself is a way of getting into rapport with somebody. Virtually nobody listens. In my experience as a teacher for decades, as a financial planner, and as a speaker, I've discovered that people are just kind of waiting for you to stop talking so they can say what they want to say. And even if they are not rude enough to cut you off, which almost everybody is, as soon as you stop talking, rather than responding to what they've said or what you've said, they will just tell you what they're thinking. So listening is a skill to be cultivated because it's very, very powerful, and almost nobody knows how to listen. So the question is this. You look somebody in the eye and you say, I'm curious, what's most important to you? And then you listen to their answer without interrupting. You listen very carefully because the next thing you have to do is feed it back. For example, let's say the person says, well, family's most important to me. I would say, I agree, family is very important. Family's quite important. And what specifically about family is important to you? And then you listen again, and they may say, well, I love my family. I love being with them. I love taking care of them. I have 3 children and 2 grandchildren, and they are really the most important thing in my life. And I would feed it back and say, I agree. Having children and grandchildren around you and loving them and having a family like that is most important. It's just very, very important. Then you might say, is there anything else that's important to you? And the person might say, security is important to me. I'm in my 70s, and I really have some concerns about security. I would say, I agree, security is very important. What specifically does security mean to you? And the person might say, well, it means being safe if I fall, if I injure myself, I know somebody's there, or my apartment I want my apartment to be a safe place for me, so that if anybody breaks in, if anybody tries to break in, they won't be able to do it. I'm concerned about my safety and security in many, many ways, in many situations. And then again, you would say, I agree, security is very important. Knowing that there's somebody to help you in case you fall or otherwise get injured, and knowing that you're living in a secure apartment where nobody can break in, those are very, very important. At this point, you should be feeling a bond with this person that you're talking with, and they should be feeling a bond with you. You've listened to them, you've been curious about what their values are, and you know something about this person that now you can evaluate and say, is this somebody I'd like to have a relationship with? But if you want to have a relationship with that person, you've already established a tremendous basis for it. I learned this technique about 8 years ago, and I thought it was very interesting, but I was skeptical about it. So I thought I'd go into the world and try it. And I tried it about 6 times before I used it with audiences and in my training. And every single time that I used it, I got a tremendous response almost immediately. I'll tell you a couple of the instances. One of them was I was sitting on Sunday afternoon about 11:30 in front of the library in my town, waiting for it to open at noon, and there was a man about my age sitting opposite me, and we smiled at each other, and there was nobody else around, and I said, how you doing? He said, yeah, it's really a beautiful day. And I said, it is a beautiful day. He said, I'd rather be fishing. I said, really? I said, is fishing what's most important to you? And he said, it sure is. I love to fish. And I'm really sorry that I'm sitting here and I'm not fishing right now. So I said, yeah, fishing is really terrific. I used to fish when I was a boy. Don't do it much anymore. But what specifically about fishing is most important to you? And what happens with many people is when you ask that question is they will look up. Because when you look up, either to the left or to the right, you're seeing a picture in your mind. It's very curious, but in some cases you're getting a picture of a memory, and if you look the other way, you're constructing a picture. The important thing is that you notice that they're making a picture. So he said to me, well, what's most important about fishing is being with my friends. And I love to be with my friends. And I said, I agree. Being with your friends is really important. It's always been important to me. And tell me a little bit more about that. What's important about being with your friends? And he said, well, we can share our experiences in the past week or two when we haven't seen each other. We can reminisce about our childhoods. I just love these guys, and I just love being with them. And I said, boy, that really is important. Reminiscing and being with people that you really like and you've liked for a very long time. It's tremendously important. At this point, he's looking at me and he says, you know what? He said, I really like you. I feel like I've made a new friend. And then the library opened. We stood up and he put his arm on my shoulder and we walked into the library together and he wished me a good day. And I was just astonished at how, first of all, I liked him very much at that point. I can't remember his name, but we exchanged our names and we went on our way. But I had a very warm feeling about that. I used it subsequently a number of times. Another experience was I was leaving the YMCA where I like to work out, and I walked to the curb of the parking lot, and there was a guy about my age standing next to me, and we said hello to each other because there were cars going by. And I said, it's a beautiful day. And he said, yeah, it's really a beautiful day. And I said, do you like going to the Y? And he said, yeah, the Y is really important to me. I said, wow, what's most important to you about the Y? And he said, the most important thing about the Y is the people and talking to the people and making friends. And when I go into the Y, I know that I'm going to see people I really like. And I stopped and I said, I listened to the end of what he said, and then I said, I agree. The people in the Y are really most important, and having relationships with them and knowing when you're going to go into the Y, you're going to meet these friends, that really feels good. It's very important. And he said, yeah, it is important. And I said, and what else is important to you? He says, well, my work is really important. I'm a shipbuilder. I make boats. I said, wow, making boats is really terrific. What about making boats is most important to you? And he said, I guess I'm giving people a way to have pleasure. Being on the water is really pleasurable, and my boats are really good, and people love them. And I know that when I sell somebody a boat, they're going to have a really good time with their family. And I fed that back, and I said, yeah, doing something that makes people happy, especially a boat where they can go in the water with their family and enjoy themselves, that's really, really important. At this point, he turned to me and he said, you know, it's really curious. I feel like I've made a very good friend with you in the last couple of minutes. And we smiled at each other and we said goodbye. And he invited me to his boatyard if I wanted to see, his shipyard, if I wanted to see how they make boats. And that was very interesting to me. But the point of the story is, of course, that we bonded in a very, very short time. So, if you're looking for a relationship and you feel like you have a chance, if you have a chance to sit down with this person who you're interested in, who you know a little bit about, this is a wonderful way of establishing rapport if in fact you want rapport. If you don't want rapport with this person, don't use this technique because you will get rapport, at least from their end, and that's not what you want. So this is the first of our rapport videos, and this is a simple technique, and I would like you to try it in the next week with somebody that you know or don't know, in fact, and take a little risk and have that experience and see how it feels, and then drop me a line and tell me about it. This is Mike Franzblau. Thanks for watching.